What's going on, people? And welcome back to Totalozspurs. And Palace 1, Tottenham 2. We were 5 points clear until this morning, but we're still top of the league. This was probably one of our most lackluster performances of the season so far, especially in that first half. I think that was our worst half of football this year so far under Ange. And I think it's a combination of a few things. But firstly, guys, make sure you are smashing a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate everyone that has already and all the views. Big up to everyone. Once again, sorry about the lack of content lately, but I'm slowly but surely getting there. See, first half, quite poor. Crystal Palace set up a low block and were just, very, very clinical, always first man to the ball, and we were always second best. And they were favouring that right-hand side, which Ben Davies was on. And I think if anybody saw in that game what we lacked, it was Destiny Udogie. I do feel like if Destiny's in that position, we have a much more comfortable game. The team kind of changed the way they played with Davies there. And I just think it just shows how instrumental Destiny is. First of all, let's start with Vicario. Amazing save to stop Edouard from scoring. Should have scored. Great low down to his left hand switch to stop the shot. This guy, couldn't do much for the goal for AU. Controversially, shouldn't have been given. But, Vicario, once again, coming up with the good saves. Got the best save ratio in the league. This guy deserved a clean sheet. Unfortunately, didn't get one, but another solid game. Our two halves, for me, I think Van de Ven was our man of the match for me. Romero, each week there's a few players you can kind of give it to, but for me, this week it was a bit of Van de Ven and Romero. I would give a bit to Van de Ven. Everyone keeps saying, and I've said it a couple of times too, and I still stand by it, but you got to do it with context, right? Van de Ven relies on his pace. Always has. There's also another player that used to always, rely on his pace, and he's won Champions Leagues and league titles, and his name's Kyle Walker. No one could tell me Kyle Walker was a better defender or is a better defender than the likes of, Reece James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The fact is, that Walker, what he lacks in skill when it comes to actual defending, he makes up for it in the pace and the timing. That's what Walker's really done. And this is what VDV does. I think it was only once that he got exposed, but every other time outpaces their strikers like he's jogging in the, going for a slow jog down the road. He's been immense this season. For me, if we didn't buy Maddison, he would be the signing of the season for me. I think he's hit the ground running. He's been immense for us, and he's totally changed our defence. You can also add a doggy in there, but I think Van de Ven really, is a star in the making. But Romero and VDV, either one of them can get man of the match. I think they tipped Son because he scored the goal, but for me, defenders don't get enough recognition. Our fullbacks. I think Pedro Porro overcompensated for the lack of a doggy this game, and he kind of had a poor game in my eyes. Still did a couple of good things. Defensively got back. What he has that the likes of Royal doesn't have and the likes of Davies doesn't have is pace. He has a bit more pace than they do to be able to make up for lack of defensive capabilities, just like Walker. Obviously, Walker's way more rapid, but all in context. I feel like he had to come infield more, come into the central more next to use the kind of help out, because Davies just seemed to be moving too far forward with his inverted runs. And he got exposed massively with pace down that right-hand side. I am so lucky Elise and I'm so happy that Elise and Eze didn't play, because they would have taught him a new one, because that's Elise's side too. But midfield, I felt like Basuma had a poor game. There was times that he carried the ball that he shouldn't have. Maybe because he's used to the likes of having a doggy sit tight next to him and Porro. I don't know, each to their own, but I felt like Basuma didn't have a great game. Saar once again, immense up and down that pitch. I do feel like sometimes he needs a bit more, especially when he goes out wide and tries to cross the ball in. He needs a bit more time with his technique. Some of his balls just don't go anywhere. I'd much rather him not make the overlapping run and have Porro do it, because Porro seems to have much more accuracy when it comes to his crosses. But once again, that spray that he did, pings it out to Johnson. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that ping was great. It was a great ball. So, he has good and he has his bad. Mads, once again, immense, great setup with Johnson for the goal. I'm not sure if it was him or Porro that whipped that ball in for the own goal. But look, overall, the team played pretty average that first half. Second half, we stepped it up. But, I've got to give it to Ange for me. And I've got to give it to Palace. Palace losing their best two attacking threats in Eze and in Olise. And, that they took it to us. There's a reason why we only had one shot on target and 2 goals. They outplayed us. We outplayed them in possession-wise, but in terms of actual intent, they had the intent being the home team too. Obviously, that was going to be the case. Yeah. Second half, the Ange changed it, took off Davies, put on Royal. They had a lot less, success down that left-hand side because of that. And then he took off Basuma for Højbjerg, and Højbjerg, I feel like, had a better game than Basuma. Controlled the midfield. He some of the times he took the pressure, and I have been a bit worried about Højbjerg and the way he handles the pressure, like the press of teams. And so in the past he's been caught out, but he played really, really well. Spread the ball out nice and quick. Made no mistakes. I mean, Højbjerg's been professional all season, even though he hasn't been starting. And then the rule changes when Mr. Richarlison. I haven't really spoken about Richarlison. I felt like he had a couple of decent touches. That first time ball to Davies, but Davies squandered it. If that was a doggy, I felt like we'd have a lot better chance of doing something with it. And then there was a time when Maddison went down the left and Richarlison just kind of stood there, gave him no option and got in his way. For me, the way Johnson came on, sorry, mate. I think Johnson starts against Chelsea. I think it was the right thing to do by Ange, pulling him off. And we saw the instant impact with, like I said, Saar pings that ball out to Johnson. Johnson first time headers to Mads, makes that run in and behind. Mads goes down the left. Johnson's on the inside. Mads rolls it to Johnson. Johnson rolls it to Son, and Son scores. And that's the instant impact that we want, and that's what I think we've been lacking, is the intent of running. Kula doesn't really have that, and that's why I think the likes of Johnson and even Hill, I know Hill only got a little cameo with Bentancur, and thank God Bentancur is back, because even though he looked a bit rusty, I think he's going to thrive in this system. I think it's going to be really, really hard each week which midfield goes out. I think Ange has got a good problem on his hands. But I think Johnson deserves. I think he came on and was one of our, best players when he entered the pitch. Intent, running. I think he could have gotten another assist. What I say on Kulu though, I think Kulu really does need to take more shots. He just does not seem to want to hit the ball. He wants to try and just feed it in or get an easy tap in. And where was that Kulu that will cut in and then just whip it on his left hand and bury it top left hand, top right hand corner? I mean, we need to see a bit more of that. But, under all that, I think, it was a good win. It's any win's a good win for Tottenham. But we remain top of the league. We go into Chelsea this week, who, lost to Brentford 2-0. Pretty poor game. It just seems like they battled out with Arsenal and then they just absolutely capitulate against Brentford. So, I think, that's going to be a good game. It's going to be another test. Chelsea seems to be our bogey team. We haven't done too well, but I think we are playing at home. So I do expect a good result there. But, for me, I think it comes down to our manager why we won this game. Like I said before, I think it was a handball on Jordan Ayew. I don't think that should have been a goal, but it was great. There's nothing Bakari could have done. It was a great shot. It's quite poor Porro and Romero kind of keeping tight on him, probably more Porro, to allow him to get that shot off. But it should have been a pen. The ball doesn't drop the way it drops for him if he doesn't handle it. And I know people say, oh, well, there's not much he can do. It came off, his chest and rolled down his arm. Okay. But if it came off his chest and didn't hit his hand, it could have went to the left a little more. He would have had to have controlled it, and he might not have hit it as sweetly as he did. However, push comes to shove, we still won the game. No point whinging about it. The only person that really affects is Vicario's clean sheet. So if that was a game winner, then maybe we could, or an equaliser, maybe we could make more stink about it. But at the end of the day, we aren't Liverpool guys. We aren't going to keep whinging about it. But the main man is Ange for me. I think they came out second half with more intent. The changes he made, like I said, really impacted the game. He recognised what was going wrong and put people out there. I do feel like when we did lose our attacking threat going forward, when like Kula came off and Hill and Hill and that came on and Bunton they did have more chances. I felt like we lost our sting in attack, but that's going to happen when Hill was coming back from first game for the season. Bentancur's come back from his ACL. You take Sonny off, you take Kulu off. Actually, I don't even know if Sonny came off, but you take your 4 going players who have done well the whole game, and you take them off and allow Crystal Palace to go, then you're obviously going to worry. Sorry, it was Richarlison, Maddison, and Kulu just having a check. So we made our 5 changes. Everything changed in that midfield. But yeah, I mean, another win, can't complain, and we march on to Chelsea. So that's it, guys. Let me know down below how you feel about the game. Let me know if I haven't picked up on anything. Smash the like, smash the subscribe button. Take it easy. Stay safe, guys. And as always, stay Spursy.